Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Gaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. Text number 7. Kamam Tahanti Kritana Nanu Roshadrishtya Rosham Dahantam Uta Te Na Tahanti Asayam Sa Ayam Yat Antaram Alam Pravishan Pabeti Kama Katam Nu Puna Asya Mana Shrayeta. Kamam Tahanti Kritano Nanadrosh Dristya. Versam Tahantam Utatena Nahantyasayam. Sayam Yadantaram Alam Pravisham Babeti. Kamakatam Na Punarasya Manasrayeta. Kamam Dahanti Kritano Nanarosha Dristya. Varsham Dahantam Utante Nadahantyasayam. Sayam Yadantaram Alam Pravesham Babeti. Kamakatam Na Punarasya Manasrayeta. Kamandahanti Kritano Nanarosha Dristya. Varsham Dahantam Utate Nadahantyasayam. Sayam Yadantaram Alam Pravesham Babeti. Kamakatam Nu Punarasya Manasrayeta.
Osham Daham Sam Te Nadaham Tasayam Oyam Yadantaram Alam Pavisham Bibeti Amakatam Punarasya Manakshayeta
Kamang Dahanti Kritino Nanurosha Drisha. Roshang Dahanta Mutatena Dahantyasayam.
Varsham Dahantam Nadahantyasayam.
Soyang Yatantaramalang Pravishan Bibeti.
Sayam Yadantaram Alam Pravesham Babeti.
Kamakatang Nupunarasya Manashayeta.
Kamam dahanti kritino nanurosha drishtya. Rosham dahantam utate nadahantya sayam. Soyam yadantaramalam pravishan bibeti. Kama katam nupunarasya manashrayeta.
Kamam Dahanti Kritino Nanurosha Drishtya Rosham Dahantam Utate Nadahantyasayam Soyam Yadantaram Alam Pravishan Bibeti Kama Katam Nupunarasya Manashrayeta
Kamam dahanti kritino nanurosha drishtya. Rosham dahantam utate nadahantya sayam. Soyam yadantaramalam pravishan babeti. Kamam katam na punarasya manashrajeta.
Kamam dahanti kirtano manurosha dristya. Rosham dahantam utatena dahanti ashyam. Soyam yar antaram alam pravishan bibheti. Kama kantam punana nupumanar asyamanaha srayeta.
Kaman, lust. Dhanti, chastises. Kritana, great stalwarts. Nanu, but. Rosha Dristya, by wrathful glance. Rosham, wrath. Dahantam, being overwhelmed. Uta, although. Te, they. Na, cannot. Tahanti, subjugate. Asayam, intolerable. Sa, that. Ayam, him. Yat, because. Antaram, within. Alam, however. Pravishan, entering. Bebeti, is afraid of. Kama, lust. Katam, how. Nu, as a matter of fact. Una, again. Asya, his. Mana, mind. Shrayeta, take shelter of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can by their wrathful glance overcome lust and vanquish him, yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter the heart of Him, the Lord, who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in His mind? Purport. When Lord Shiva was engaged in severe austere meditation, Cupid, the demigod of lust, threw his arrow of sex desire, and Lord Shiva, thus being angry at him, glanced at Cupid in great wrath, and at once the body of Cupid was annihilated. Although Lord Shiva is so powerful, he was unable to get free from the effects of such wrath. But in the behavior of Lord Vishnu, there's no incidence of such wrath at any time. On the contrary, Bhrigu Muni tested the tolerance of the Lord by purposely kicking his chest, but instead of being angry at Bhrigu Muni, the Lord begged his pardon, saying that Bhrigu Muni's leg might have been badly hurt due to his chest being too hard. The Lord has a sign on the foot of Bhrigupad as the mark of tolerance. The Lord, therefore, is never affected by any kind of wrath. So how can there be any place for lust, which is less strong than wrath? When lust or desire is not fulfilled, there is the appearance of wrath. But in the absence of wrath, how can there be any place for lust? The Lord is known as Aptakama, or one who can fulfill his desires by himself. He does not require anyone's help to satisfy his desires. The Lord is unlimited, and therefore his desires are also unlimited. All living entities but the Lord are limited in every respect. How then can the limited satisfy the desires of the unlimited? The conclusion is that the absolute personality of Godhead has neither lust nor anger. And even if there is sometimes a show of lust and anger by the absolute, it should be considered an absolute benediction. Donovan Maharaj, we're eager to hear your thoughts on Srimad Bhagavtam.
Yeah. We don't really think of any form of Vishnu meet with all the desirable persons in the universe. She was not interested. And there's no, the indication here seems to be Prabhupada making the point that even if there's a show of lust, it's not really a sign of lust on the part of Vishnu, but it's just it's a show of benediction. In other words, if it appears that Krishna is attracted by the gopis or by his queens, it's not exactly like that, because he has his own satisfaction, aptakama. It's not that he needs something else other than himself, although it's also said that the form of Lakshmi or Radharani, the internal potency of the Lord, is also considered to be Vishnu Tattva. It's on the category of the Lord. So even if there appears to be some kind of indication of lustful attraction, it's not. Because his internal potency is himself also, Lord Vishnu. The main point is there's no touch of the material energy. The external energy of the Lord has influence over even up to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was induced to produce Kartikeya because the wife of Lord Shiva, the consort of Lord Shiva, was brought in. Parvati, she was capable of attracting him. Sometimes Lord Shiva comes in touch with the material energy. Saiksita, the Vedas say that when the Lord Vishnu glanced, then the living entities were impregnated within the womb of material energy. But that glance, that's Lord Shiva. So it's not that actually Vishnu touches contact with the material energy. And story of, I think most of you know the story of the three chief demigods, or they were tested to see who was supreme. And by Brigamoni, and tested first for Lord Brahma, then Lord Shiva, then Lord Vishnu. And Shiva and Brahma seem to show some influence of being in touch with material energy. But Lord Vishnu showed no sign at all of anger. And anger is more powerful than lust, because lust comes from passion, but anger comes from ignorance, which is a lower mode. It means it's more powerful.
Donovan Maharaj, thank you very much. I have one question. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in the beginning that when lust is not satisfied, it turns into wrath. So if the origin of wrath is lust, is it possible for there to be wrath in a person if he's devoid of lust?
Well, yes, that's the point that I think is being made in this verse, is that, let's read it again. Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva, by their wrathful glances, overcome lust and vanquish him. Yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord, who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind? So yes, it appears that Lord Shiva was able to. He was able to vanquish wrath. Vanquish lust. Lust came to affect him. And just as lust personified Cupid shooting arrows, and when the arrows are shot, when someone is shot, he's victimized by those arrows. And we don't hear of anyone not being victimized by those arrows except Lord Shiva. He's famous. He victimized. He defeated Cupid. Cupid's arrows, lust. Of course, Vishnu never falls for lust. He's on a higher platform. So anyway, regarding your question, it appears that yes, one can get free from lust, but still not be free from anger.
Thank you very much. So even the great demigods, even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, as well as Indra, Chandra, Varuna, and other 33 million demigods, they're not free from the modes of material nature. So that those who worship the demigods, they're described by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita as apamadisam. They've lost their intelligence. And by worshiping the demigods, one can fulfill one's lusty desires, but such fruits are limited and temporary. But by worshiping Lord Vishnu or Krishna, one can experience unlimited benefit because the mercy of Krishna is unlimited. And if a devotee is tried like the Pandavas, they were tried in so many difficult circumstances. The mercy bestowed upon a tried devotee is called Brahman. It's unlimited and it's ever expanding. And that mercy is also described as susukam. It's very fine. It's of the highest quality of mercy upon the tried devotee. So everyone should therefore take shelter of the lotus feet of Vishnu and not waste their human energy in worshiping the demigods. And this human form of life, it is possible to conquer lust, but it's not possible in other species of life. And by restraining one's semen, one can become very powerful. So sometimes the demigods, when they see performing, great sages performing severe acts of brahmacharya, they become afraid because their position is threatened if a human being becomes too powerful. So sometimes they send enticing females to make the brahmacharis or sannyasis fall down. And this is also the case of Narayan. Although Narayan was an incarnation of Vishnu, the demigods became afraid and sent celestial beauties to try to make them fall down. And here's the story of Bhrigu when he was sent to see who is supreme by the great sages there on the bank of the river Saraswati, and they were discussing about the great leaders of the universe, who among them is supreme, Brahma, Vishnu, or Lord Shiva. And Brahma, when he was approached by Bhrigu Muni failed to offer obeisances. So this is an offense of the mind, and Brahma became very angry, but he was able to control his anger by his intelligence, because by intelligence, he understood that this is my son, Bhrigu Muni, so I shall forgive my son. And when he approached Lord Shiva in Lord Shiva's abode, Kailas, Lord Shiva stood up to receive Bhrigu Muni, because Lord Shiva is the brother of Bhrigu Muni. They're both born of Lord Brahma. And Lord Shiva approached Bhrigu Muni to embrace him, and Bhrigu Muni said, "Don't touch me, you are impure. Your body is smeared with ashes. I don't want to be touched by you." And Lord Shiva became so enraged, his eyes become red, and he took up his trident and he prepared to kill his brother, Bhrigu Muni. But Parvati, Lord Shiva's wife, she invoked Lord Shiva's mode of goodness. Parvati is called Sri Gunamayi. She's the embodiment of the three qualities. And Parvati said, "This is not good. Bhrigu Muni is your brother. You should forgive him." So by invoking Lord Shiva's quality of goodness, Parvati saved the life of Bhrigu Muni. And then Bhrigu Muni came to Svetadweep, where Lord Vishnu was lying on a bed of arrows with the goddess of fortune. And when Bhrigu Muni came to see Lord Vishnu, Bhrigu Muni put his foot right on the chest of Lord Vishnu. So this is not only an offense of the mind or speech, but this is a physical offense. This is more severe offense. But Lord Vishnu is so tolerant that he said, he received Bhrigu Muni very kindly. He said, "My dear Brahman, it's very fortunate for me that you have come here to purify us by your association, and your lotus feet purify all the places of pilgrimage. And your lotus feet are as soft as lotus flowers, and my chest is as hard as a thunderbolt. So I'm afraid that by placing your foot on my hard chest, your foot might be hurt. So let me massage your foot." So Lord Vishnu began to massage the foot of Bhrigu Muni. And Bhrigu Muni was so astonished that he became speechless, and he understood that actually Lord Vishnu is the embodiment of goodness, not only goodness but pure unalloyed goodness is the embodiment of Lord Vishnu. And it's said that the demigods generally, they're very easily satisfied, and at the same time, they're easily angered by the good or bad behavior of their devotees. And today's the disappearance day of Srila Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada, Jai, Shri Gaur Nitai. So Rupa Goswami was one of the predecessor spiritual masters in our sampradaya, and this Rupa Nuga Vedic College. Rupa Nuga means one who follows in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami was not an ordinary spiritual master. Therefore, he is called Prabhupada. Prabhupada means a spiritual master at whose feet other spiritual masters sit. And Rupa Goswami wrote so many books on bhakti, on devotional service, that no one can even count them. And Rupa Goswami was the brother of Sanatana Goswami, who's also the author of many books on devotional service. And their nephew, Jiva Goswami, also wrote so many books that no one can count. And Jiva Goswami, the nephew, is considered the greatest philosopher in the world. This is acknowledged by all great philosophers all over the world. So the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were very elevated personalities, but they left everything. They gave up their opulent positions, and they took complete shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. And even though Rupa Goswami was born in a Brahmin family, him and his brother Sanatan accepted the service of the Nawab Hussain Shah, who was a Mohammedan king of Bengal, and therefore they were considered to have become degraded because a Brahmin cannot accept the service of anybody else. And since they were serving a Mohammedan king, they adopted Muslim practices and habits. And Rupa Goswami his name was changed to Dabir Khas, a Mohammedan name. And Sanat Goswami was Shakar Malik. And after Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, the devotees from Bengal, they would visit Lord Chaitanya every year for 4 months. First, they saw the Rath Yatra festival, and they would stay in Jagannath Puri for 4 months. And while they were there were 3 great personalities who they were so humble that they felt that they were unqualified to enter the Jagannath temple. These 3 personalities were Srila Haridas Thakur, Rupa Goswami, and Srila Sanatana Goswami. And every day, Lord Chaitanya would attend the Upalabhoga ceremony at the Garuda Stamba, where the bhoga is offered to Lord Jagannath in the presence of the general public. And Lord Chaitanya would see the ceremony every day. And after the ceremony, he would visit the residences of Srila Rupa Goswami, Haridas Thakur, and Sanatana Goswami in Jagannath Puri. So Lord Chaitanya was demonstrating that he did not approve of the prohibitions of the Jagannath temple. But Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur never became angry that they were not allowed in the Jagannath temple, because they actually felt themselves as fallen souls and not qualified to enter the great temple. So the Nityasiddha devotees like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they were never affected by lust or anger. Therefore, their position is much greater than the demigods, even greater than Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. And they came here to propagate the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa Goswami and Krishna Lila, he's known as Rupa Manjari. And when Lord Chaitanya wanted to travel from Kolia to Vrindavan, the Srimananda Brahmachari heard about this, and he decided to construct an opulent road for Lord Chaitanya to travel on. But although the Srimananda Brahmachari had no wealth, he constructed this road within his mind. So this shows that devotional service can be performed within one's mind as well as one's body. And the place called Kolia, it's on the western bank of Ganga, and Mayapur is on the eastern bank. And nowadays, this place Kolia is known as Navadvip. But in Lord Chaitanya's time, this is the place where Lord Chaitanya bestowed his mercy upon Devananda Pandit, and he forgave the offenses of Gopal Chapala, who was offensive to Srivas Thakur. And at this place, Kolia, Lord Chaitanya excused many blasphemers and offenders. And when Lord Chaitanya was in Kolia, there were throngs of people came to see his lotus feet. And he traveled from Kolia to Vrindavan, and he eventually arrived at the village named Ramakeli. And this village is situated on the border of Bengal and is very exquisite. And Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami had the residences in this village, Ramakeli Gram. And this Prabhupada writes in the purport of Chaitanya Charitamrita. While performing some kirtan in Ramakeli Gram, the Lord danced and sometimes lost consciousness due to love of God. While he was at Ramakeli, an unlimited number of people came to see his lotus feet. When the Mohammedan king of Bengal heard of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's influence in attracting innumerable people, he became very astonished and began to speak as follows. Such a person who is followed by so many people without giving them charity must be a prophet. I can surely understand this fact. The Mohammedan king ordered the magistrate, do not disturb this Hindu prophet out of jealousy. Let him do his own will wherever he likes. When the Mohammedan king asked his assistant, Kesava Chatri, for news of the influence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kesava Chatri, although knowing everything about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, tried to avoid the conversation by not giving any importance to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. Kesava Chatri informed the Mohammedan king that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a mendicant touring different places of pilgrimage, and that as such, only a few people came to see him. Kesava Chatri said, out of jealousy, your Mohammedan servant plots against him. I think that you should not be very interested in him, for there is no profit in it. Rather, there is simply loss. After pacifying the king in this way, Kesava Chatri sent a Brahmin messenger to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, requesting him to leave without delay. In private, the king inquired from Dabir Kas, Srila Rupa Goswami, who began to speak about the glories of the Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gave you this kingdom, and he you accept as a prophet has taken birth in your country due to your good fortune. This prophet always desires your good fortune. By his grace, all your business is successful. By his blessings, you will attain victory everywhere. And why are you questioning me? Better do you question your own mind, because you are the king of the people. You are the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you can understand this better than I. Thus, Srila Rupa Goswami informed the king about his mind as a way of knowing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He assured the king that whatever occurred in his mind could be considered evidence. The king replied, I consider Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's no doubt about it. After having this conversation with Rupa Goswami, the king entered his private house. Rupa Goswami, then known as Dabir Kas, also returned to his residence. After returning to his residence, Dabir Kas and his brother decided after much consideration to go see the Lord incognito. Thus, in the dead of night, the two brothers, Dabir Kas and Shakir Malik, went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu incognito. First, they met Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the two personalities, Sri Rupa and Sanatan, had come to see him. In great humility, both brothers took bunches of straw between their teeth, and each binding a cloth around his neck, they fell down like rods before the Lord. Upon seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the two brothers were overwhelmed with joy, and out of humility they began to cry. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked them to get up and assured them of all good fortune. The two brothers got up, and again taking straw between their teeth, they humbly offered their prayers with folded hands. Jai Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Maya, Patita Pavna Jaya, Jai Mahashaya. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the merciful Savior of the fallen souls. All glories to the Supreme Personality. Sir, we belong to the lowest class of men, and our associates and employment are also of the lowest type. Therefore, we cannot introduce ourselves to you. We feel very much ashamed standing here before you. Dear Lord, let us inform you that no one is more sinful than us, nor is there any offender like us. Even if we wanted to mention our sinful activities, we would immediately become ashamed. What to speak of giving them up? Both brothers submitted, Dear Lord, you have incarnated to deliver the fallen souls. You should consider that in this world there's none so fallen as us. You have delivered the two brothers, Jagai and Madhai, but to deliver them, you do not have to exert yourself very much. The brothers, Jagai and Madhai, belong to the Brahmin caste, and their residence was in the holy place of Navadvip. They never served low-class persons, nor were they instruments to abominable activities. Jagai and Madhai had but one fault. They were addicted to sinful activity. However, volumes of sinful activity can be burned to ashes simply by dim reflection of the chanting of your holy name. Jagai and Madhai uttered your holy name by way of blaspheming you. Fortunately, the holy name became the cause of their deliverance. We too are millions and millions of times inferior to Jagai and Madhai. We are more degraded, fallen, and sinful than they. Actually, we belong to the caste of meat eaters because we are servants of meat eaters. Indeed, our activities are exactly like those of the meat eaters. Because we always associate with such people, we are inimical toward the cows and the Brahmins. The two brothers, Shakir Malik and Dabir Kas, very humbly submitted that due to their abominable activities, they were now bound by the neck and hands and had been thrown into a ditch filled with abominable, stool-like objects of material sense enjoyment. No one within the three worlds is sufficiently powerful to deliver us. You are the only savior of the fallen souls. There is no one but you. If you simply deliver us by your transcendental strength, then certainly your name will be known as the savior of the fallen souls. Let us speak one word that is very true. Plainly hear us, O merciful one. There is no other subject of mercy within the three worlds but us. We are the most fallen, therefore, by showing us your mercy is most successful. Let the power of your mercy be exhibited throughout the entire universe. Let us submit one piece of information before you, dear Lord. It is not at all false, but is full of meaning. It is this: if you are not merciful upon us, then it will be very, very difficult to find more suitable candidates for your mercy. We are very depressed at being unfit candidates for your mercy. And since we have heard of your transcendental qualities, we are very much attracted to you. Indeed, we are like a dwarf who wants to capture the moon. Although we are completely unfit, a desire to receive your mercy is awakening within our minds. By serving you constantly, one is freed from all material desires and is completely pacified. When shall I engage as your permanent eternal servant and always feel joyful to have such a fitting master? After hearing the prayer of Dabir Kas and Sakar Malik, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Dabir Kas, you two brothers are my old servants. My dear Sakar Malik, from this day your names will be changed to Sri Rupa and Srila Sanatan. Now please abandon your humility, for my heart is breaking to see you so humble." Any comments or questions? All glories to His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Sankirtan Festival.
So we'll read the Sankirtan scores for the week of August 28th. For the pleasure of their lordships, Sri Sri Gaur Nitai, Lord Nrsimhadev, the Sampradaya Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, and His Holiness Dhanavir Goswami, and all the assembled devotees. For this week, we had we had 5 book distributors. So in 5th position with 1 Maha book for a total of 2 book points, Radhastali Devidasi. In 4th position with 17, do you want to get them redundant? Okay. In 4th position with 17 small books and 1 medium book for a total of 4.75 book points, Subal Prabhu. In oh, sorry, I just skipped the 4th. Actually, in 4th position, that was 3rd position. In 4th position with 1 small book, 1 medium book, 1 big book, and 1 Maha big book for a total of 3.75 book points, Radha Damodar Prabhu. In 2nd position with 2 medium books, 2 big books, and 4 Maha big books for a total of 11 book points, Jivadoya Prabhu. Oh, we got a one just in. Let's see where does this score fit in here? Okay, so a new 3rd position score is 2 medium books, 1 big book, and 1 Maha big book for a total of 6 book points. Magadari Prabhu. Haribo. And in first position with 58 small books, 43 medium books, 34 big books, and 35 Maha big books for a total of 140 book points, Rishi Kumar Das. Hare Krishna. And that makes the RVC total 76 small books, 46 medium books, 37 big books, and 41 Maha big books for a total of 161 book points. Rupanuga Vedic College Ki Jai. So a highlight from this week. Every now and then waves of Indian students would come to the table at the school. Otherwise it was pretty like kind of slow, just one person at a time. But every now and then 1 or 2 Indian people would come to the table. And then next thing you know, all the Indian students walking by would crowd around as a group for some reason. And so at one of those times when kind of a group of them came by, one of the Matajis was asking about if there's like a temple nearby, and we've got this flyer for the temple. I kept it by the table. So I showed her the flyer and told her about everything that we're doing at the temple and asked if she wanted to give a donation. And she gave a lot at least for what I've seen from college students. She gave $50. And then and she only wanted the small book, Perfection of Yoga. So I asked her just to take one of each of the books. So she took one of each on the table. And that was nice. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Okay, we don't have Jiva Doya here for a highlight. Maybe if Magadari can do it on the Zoom, or we can come back to him if that's easier.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
for this. So we went to the plaza and we were doing Harinam, but I bring a couple books with me in the back, and yeah, I had this idea that I wanted to try to give it to some potential bhakti candidates. So that was my kind of meditation when I put them in there. And then Krishna had his plan. So I met a couple people, and one gentleman was outside having a break from working in one of the restaurants, and he looked really cool. So I wanted to talk to him, and he said, "Yep, I'm totally into it." And he just pulled out his wallet and he gave a donation for the Srimad Bhagavtam. Or maybe that was the JST. Anyway, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. I also got his number.
So I got a chance to do some book distribution in Kansas City, and I walked into like a mom and pop place that had chicken, and there's this young attendant, and she had everything there she could probably care for. She had like a little bit of a smoke, a little bit of a drink, and she was probably playing on a video game. So I thought this was going to be a big challenge, but I told her the philosophy, and I gave her a small summary, and she kept holding the book, and she seemed interested. So I was like, okay, well, this might work. And she didn't have much questions, but she accepted it, and it looked really interested. And so she gave a nice donation, and I complimented her on her stalworthiness, and that she was really interested, and that's really commendable. And she was like, okay, great. And she was really nice because she offered me some water, and it was one of those hot days, so I had to accept the water, and it was cold as ice, and I could put it in different areas. So it was really a blissful experience, which I didn't expect at that point. Transfer book distribution key, Jai.
So Rishi and I went to Walmart, and while we were there was some guy in the aisle, and I noticed he had some cool kind of Nordic tattoos or something. So I just went up to him, asked him about his tattoos, and he started talking. He said he's into it, you know. And so I said, well, great, then you'd love this, you know, because the Nordic cosmology is kind of like it's like an incomplete version of the Vedic understanding, you know. So I was just drawing some comparisons. And he was really interested, and he took a bhakta stack and he gave a donation. So yeah, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.